everyone, and welcome to the Week 11 review, Week 12 preview. You guys thought we weren't giving a video. We're giving a video. I'm Mr. Modest, a.k.a. the champ, a.k.a. longest winning streak in the league right now. 4 in a row. He's a monster. You better watch out. I'm joined by Joel Gibson, who is over here on his way home from work. And Joel, let me just give you the opportunity to apologize to these men, as we are at least 24 hours late on our video.
Listen, we are not at least 24 hours. We're getting close to 24 hours late on our video. But we are not at least. Get that bullshit out of here. As for the apologies, step right on up, boys. When you guys want to stop being bitches, I'll apologize. But within 24 hours, I find highly acceptable considering how fucking wasted I was last night. I think this is just fine. It's not every week, but I ain't fucking sorry for shit.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. Let's jump right into it. Joel Gibson, I alluded to it earlier. We start with the champs matchup. He beat Steven. Now, Steven did not get me anything for Christmas. But do you know what he got me? He decided to sit half his lineup on Saturday. And he gifted me the win. Happy New Year to you, Steven. I love you so much. Next year, I'm giving you a big wet one on the cheek, you big bastard. I love you. Thank you. I didn't do the actual math if I would have lost if he played, but it was damn close. So
likely was different.
I love you, Steven. Do not ever let anybody tell you anything different. Mr. Modest moves to 7-4. Steven moves to 4-7. Mr. Modest has the longest win streak in the league. Can you feel it, Joel Gibson?
No.
Next matchup, we've got Neiman winning at Phil. Now, these were two of the top 3 teams going at it. Neiman takes care of business on the road here. Phil, without Anthony Davis, not enough to keep up with Neiman. I'm worried about that against the top teams. Neiman gets it done. Phil has the tiebreaker over Modest. So even the loss here still locks him in that 3rd place. But it's clear without Davis, it's going to be a problem for Phil.
It most certainly is. Settling with Davis, and Davis looked amazing earlier this year, but it's not sounding good. It sounds like Davis might not be back until the fantasy playoffs, maybe later. And Phil definitely does not want to fall down the ranks, especially if he ends up as a 6-7 seed having to go up a top 2 team. Wow. Shout out to Neiman, who is again 9-2. He has clinched a playoff berth. There is nothing he can do that will eliminate him from playoffs. Just like last year, he is the first team to clinch a playoff spot. I don't know if you remember this, Joel Gibson, but last year, he was the first team to claim a playoff spot. I think it's hysterical that 2 years in a row he's been the first team to do it and hasn't even sniffed a championship. Well, I'll top you there, mostly because I like topping you. But if you think back even 2 years ago, I think he had a fast start then, because I feel like last year we were talking about here comes Neiman with the blazing hot start again. This is like year 3 of Neiman coming out with fast starts, with, quick demises.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the 3rd year because that was the bubble year, and that was the year that I was basically untouchable. So I don't know if it was me or if it was Neiman that year. We will have to look into that because that's interesting. But I know that the bubble year, I was crushing. Now, next matchup, we have Matt at Doug. Matt takes care of business here. Shocking a little bit as Doug sat LaMelo on Saturday. Now, was that the difference? I don't believe so. I was looking at it. I think Matt still would have won. But I was shocked to see Doug not set his lineups. I don't know what happened or anything like that. But Matt gets it done here and moves to that 6-5 and sets Doug back to 5-6.
Yeah, sometimes it's better to be lucky than smart for Matt,
Absolutely. And just for the record, Neiman moves to 9-2. Phil moves to 7-4, tied with Modest like we talked about. I believe that this is also Neiman's best start at 9-2. So
that is a scorcher.
That is a scorcher. 9-2 in this competitive year. Man, I don't know what's going on, but we're going to have to see what happens here. Neiman always has those teams that you're just like, wait a minute, who's he have again? And all of a sudden he has the best win percentage through 10, 12 weeks and then collapses. As history says. I'm not saying he's going to. I'm just saying, given the history, he might.
He's like the Phoenix Suns of our league.
Exactly. He is exactly the Phoenix Suns of our league. Next matchup, we've got Kyle at CJ. CJ picks up a win here. He was very nervous throughout the week. He's had a lot of injuries. Kyle has had more injuries. He's a dumpster fire. CJ wins this matchup, moves to 6-5. Kyle to 4-7.
Yeah, CJ's team, it's really a bummer because he's got a lot of talent, but it just feels like all year there has been a point where like all of his top talent has been playing together.
Absolutely, and that's the toughest thing with fantasy. You got to have all your talent playing together at the same time. Now, next match, the next two matchups are kind of sleepers, so we can just run through them really quickly. Adam takes care of Eric. No shit. Adam moves to 8-3. Eric moves to 2-9. The last matchup is Cody at Joel. Joel had this in hand all week. He moves to 6-5. Cody moves to 2-9. Cody and Eric are tied for the worst record in the league at 2-9. And Joel moves to that crucial 6-5. Now we have 1, 2, 3 teams at that 6-5 mark. And you've got Doug bringing up the rear at 5-6 in the 8th spot right now. Steven and Kyle are the 9-10 at 4-7. Cody and Eric, like I said, 2-9 in those last spots. Now, I want to say that to this point, I have not looked at any scores that have happened thus far. I tried to stay extremely true to my picks. We'll start with the champs matchup. Mr. Modest is home against the one and only Eric. I'm going to pick Mr. Modest here.
Yeah, I'm going to pick I'm going to pick against Eric as well here. And to be clear, when it comes to the scores, I kind of forget who I'm playing this week. So that tells you how much I've actually looked this week.
Absolutely. So what you're saying, Joel Gibson, is that Mr. Modest will continue the longest win streak in the league this year.
Yeah, I think you will. Eric is not the one to stop you. He's not a fucking dragon slayer. He's a damsel in distress.
Absolutely. And Joel, let me take this one step further because I've been looking just for fun little snippets. Do you know that Neiman at 9-2 will not have had a 5-week win streak? And do you want to know why? Mr. Modest is why. Beat it, broke it up. Mr. Modest is on
fire. Without Booker, without Cade, we are still on fire and rolling over here, Joel Gibson.
Yeah, it's a good week to see Eric while Booker's out. And just a fucking bummer, because I'm going to see the Suns this week, too. God damn it.
I know, very much a bummer. Next matchup, we have Doug at Neiman. Now, Doug, coming off the loss, he's still in that 8th spot for the playoffs. He has to go against the Goliath Neiman. I don't know that he gets it done. I will continue to vote against Doug because he seems to do better when I do that. I'm going to pick Neiman here to be the first team to 10 wins for a second consecutive season.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going to pick Neiman as well. It's definitely concerning if Doug... did you say Doug didn't set his lineups one day, or no? He didn't put Melo in one day.
He didn't play Melo. I don't know what happened. In the messenger, he literally messaged, like, at 7:02. He's like, I have no idea why LaMelo isn't in my lineups. And I looked. They played at 7. He wasn't in the lineup. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was a misclick. I have no idea. But Doug, try to set your lineups this week, and we'll see what happens.
All right. As long as Doug is still trying to set his lineups, then I'm still picking Neiman, but it's more of a thought. I'm picking Neiman just because he's been hot this year.
Yep.
Doug in the past has been a reliably steady team, but Neiman seems to have it going.
Based on records right now, this would be a first-round matchup come playoff time, 8 versus 1. So we're going to see what's going to happen here. I'm going to be paying close attention, I know for sure, to see what Doug can do against Neiman. It's going to be very interesting. Next matchup is a far more intriguing matchup to me, Joel Gibson, and I left this one right in the middle because it's Joel at Phil. Phil, number 3 right now. Mr. Modest is 4, tied record. Joel Gibson, if you beat Phil, imagine, just picture this. If you beat Phil, your record will move to 7-5. His record will be 7-5, and you'll have the tiebreaker, Joel Gibson. So, let me ask you, Joel Gibson, who are you taking in this matchup?
Dude, is there any fucking doubt in your mind? Of course I'm taking me. The news on Middleton hasn't been great this week. I was really hoping that he would be a bigger part of my team, and this year he just hasn't. But outside that, fairly healthy. There's a chance that Cam Johnson comes back this week. Gordon Hayward is starting to look like himself out there. I think this is a pretty good team. I'm going to pick me. Get the fuck out of my way, Phil.
Yeah, I think that Phil doesn't really have the depth to compete with you. It's interesting to me without Davis. I thought that last week might have been more of a problem. Well, he played Neiman, so I mean, you can't really judge that. So for me this week, it's going to set right where that line is. Is he a top 4 team or is he not? I'm taking Joel on the road only because I want that 3 seed for myself. That's why we're going to take Joel. Feel free, Joel. Love it. Kill him. Whatever. I'm going to continue my win streak. It's going to be great.
The only thing I'll add is Garland is out for today's game.
For sure.
If he doesn't play this week, that really hurts. He's my second round pick. So that's a very, very important play for me.
Yeah, it's almost like you robbed him from somebody. But it's cool. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to be mad about it. I'm not going to be mad. We're going to move on to this next matchup. We have CJ at Adam. This week is probably the best as far as matchups go back and forth. There's a couple stinkers where you're playing Eric or Cody. But the other 4 matchups are extremely interesting. CJ at Adam. Now, if Adam loses, he will still stay in that 2 spot because I believe he still has the tiebreaker with me. BS, I was injured. It's fine. No big deal. I got to get ahead of him. But CJ could move up into that 7-5 slot, which would be you, Phil, and CJ in that 7-5 area. You're paused. I have no idea what's happening.
I can hear you.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and pick Adam at home. Still, CJ without Steph is not enough for me to pick CJ on the road here.
I was trying to see, because I pulled over, I was trying to see if there was anyone on Adam's team that is injured this week.
I have not looked at the app today, so I have zero idea. I can try to bring it up. I have brought it up. Adam, I'm clicking on Adam right now. It's not taking me to his team. I see no red flag. Well, Greek is on his bench right now.
Is Greek playing right now?
He's on his IR, so I don't think he's playing at all.
I see. That's the problem. I misunderstood bench for like IR and bench.
Right.
But that's tough. Yeah, Greek is pretty important to him.
Yeah, it just looks like he's probable for tomorrow, though.
Oh, all right, never mind. I'm gonna pick against CJ. If Giannis is playing.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I don't know what you're supposed to do when you've got Steph on your bench. You have no idea. Now, KD has been hot as shit. Credit to them.
Harden's been pretty good in fantasy, too.
Right. But without Steph, I just don't see him getting it done on the road. I'm going to take Adam. Next matchup is Steven and Kyle, both 4-7. The 9-10 matchup right now. I feel like this is a crossroads at this point. If you win this matchup, maybe you get into the playoffs. Maybe. If you lose this matchup, it might be time to start planning for next season. I'm going to take Steven on the road here. I just think that Kyle's a house of cards. And it's not that Steven was bad. He just didn't set his lineups. He could have easily beat me last week, I think. I don't know. But he also didn't add either. I used 5 of my 7 ads. He used 0 of his 7 ads. I was vulnerable. I didn't have Booker. Nance was out. Oubre was out. A bunch of my players were out at least one game last week. That was his time to strike for me. But I think that Steven, if he takes this seriously, he will be able to beat Kyle on the road. I'm going with Steven and Kyle. Let's start planning for a couple years down the road, huh?
Yeah, I'm picking Steven as well. Steven's a competitive guy. He doesn't like to get losses.
Absolutely. And then the last matchup, we've got Cody at Matt. Cody and Eric are tied right now, so they are really both trying to lose. Eric, just remember that as you play me this week, you are trying to lose. Cody, I know for sure is trying to lose. So I think Matt's going to win here. He might jump himself up into that 7-5 mix. There's a chance that we have 1, 2, 3, 4... 4 7-5s next week, and that would be assuming that Matt wins, CJ wins. I don't know that that's going to happen, but Joel wins. Phil would move to 7-5, and yeah, that would be really interesting if like 4 through 8 are all at 7-5, or 3 through 7 would all be 7-5.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty tight.
Very tight. And yeah, I mean, that's it. We're sorry it's coming to you guys late. Happy New Year to you guys. Happy Merry Christmas, whatever. Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all the things. Just remember at the end of the day, Mr. Modest, a.k.a. the champ, a.k.a. the trophy holder, has the longest winning streak in the league, and that is not coming to an end soon, baby. Mwah!
Well, Happy New Year, everybody. Remember whatever the fuck Brandon just said. And also remember, we're not sorry.
Excellent. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks, Joel.
Yeah.